Hello people, my name is Rage, and welcome one and all to the EU final of my Hearthstone tournament. Last round was incredible, so I am confident that today's best of 5 is going to be wonderful. It is going to be between Hollow and Tacit Rabbit, who may have beaten me, but I'm not biased. I just want some awesome games. Without further ado, let's go into round 1. And here we are then. We have Hollow down on the bottom as Mage Jaina against Tacit Rabbit at the top, who is playing Shaman. Now, I am conflicted. Tacit beat me, so I'll admit there'll be a certain amount of satisfaction from seeing him lose, but he is repping the Shaman. And I love me the Shaman. Hollow is playing Scumbag Mech Mage. Like, it is the latest cancerous deck. It is the new zoo. It really is. Technically, honestly, there's nothing wrong if you play it. It is a very powerful, very cheap, very effective deck, and if you want ranks like crazy, play Mech Mage. As much as I hate that I'm advocating it, just go for it. It is a fantastically strong deck, taken over the limit by Goblin Blast Mage. This opening already is incredible. He's got his Mech Warper. He is in a very good place. Our Shaman is going to be very hard-pressed to respond to this. However, he does have both Feral Spirits and a Sludge Belcher, which is going to prove very good. Mech Warper, he can do a free Clockwork Gnome, that's kind of nice, but then he doesn't spend his last mana, so a Spider Tank does also make a lot of sense, but it also means that he's got one less mech on the field, which means our Shaman only needs to remove one mech for Goblin Blast Mage to not be effective, whereas with this play, he's got to remove 2 things, so it's probably about 50-50 on that, honestly. Right here, if he Feral Spirits, his turn 2 is nothing. What I would do is drop the Vitality Totem and just pray, honestly. It will restore 4 health, it will effectively restore 7 health, because one of these 2 will have to kill it, and then you can play Feral Spirit into Coin Feral Spirit, into Flounder, into Sludge Belcher. Honestly, this game is over. I'm gonna call it here. As long as Hollow's draws don't become abysmal, it's pretty close to over. The double Mech Warper is really incredible. The Blast Mage should go down here. Hopefully it can peel off a Feral Spirit if he's feeling lucky. This play is a little bit more passive. He has to attack both Feral Spirits anyway. He could decide that, you know what, I'm giving up my Cogmaster, I'm putting my Spider Tank to 2 health, and I'm just gonna double Mech Warper and play a free Clockwork Gnome and just swamp the board. He's used Feral Spirits, he's overloaded to 2, he can't Lightning Storm and punish me for this. I could go for it. Granted, he does have the coin, so he could in theory Lightning Storm, but that would cripple him so much and not even guarantee the board clear, which is ridiculous. He's instead gonna do the medium ground option, which is kill 1. Oh no, he's not gonna Blast Mage, or unless he's gonna do it and just send it face, which isn't the most effective use of the ability. And no, he's going to go for a flood the board, and honestly, if our Shaman could, a coin Lightning Storm here would be how he gets back into this, and hope beyond hope he gets lucky on these Mech Warpers. He doesn't have that, so he's basically screwed. He's going to have to coin Feral Spirit. This will kill one of them, and it will block 2 more attacks. That's really all he has going for him at the moment. But of course, the Goblin Blast Mage is going to make that a lot weaker of a play. This is a very brutal opening match here in the final, but delicious nonetheless. Not even golden Mech Warpers. I mean, the first thing I did was make golden Met Walk. I feel like my point is now invalid, and I should just go home. He's actually just gone for the totem, so he has no mana. I don't know what my English is doing right now. Oh, he could not have asked to draw a better card. Drop the Spider Trank. I actually can't speak English right now. Is that bad? That's probably bad. Drop the Blast Mage. It is just, nothing will stop this. Sludge Belcher just gets killed by the Blast Mage, and the Blast Mage survives. The Drake does nothing, Lotheb does nothing, Feral Spirit does nothing. He's gone. This is going to hit that, and then he's got that to kill the Slime. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's dead. He is dead. It's incomprehensible how dead our shaman friend here is. Oh, a 2-mana piloted shredder. That seems very fair. Well, that was nothing short of a slaughter there, and the spare part is armor plating, if he needed anything else. And good night, Tacit Rabbit. 1-0 to Mr. Hollow. A very one-way battle, largely due to the Shaman just sucking against Mech Mage, and also due to Mech Mage being very powerful. Let's move on to the next game. And here we are in game 2. Hollow has switched to his Druid, Tacit Rabbit, his Priest, and now we are in much more of a it could go anywhere matchup. Though Hollow, with the Innovate Shade of Naxxramas turn 1, is going to have a very strong opener, though equally the Arcani Circle is very nice to have, though not so much against a Druid who's going to be rocking a lot of high health, and he does sensibly transfer it back into his deck. For the mulligan, the Sylvanas, very good. The Power Word Shield, obviously useful. Thoughtsteal, fantastic against a Druid because they do have good cards. And there it is, the opening Innovate into Shade. Honestly, the best opening in Hollow's entire deck. So he's got to be feeling pretty damn good about that. And the Ancient of War, he's not going to be doing anything else for a fair amount of time, but it is good to get the Shade growing, and he should leave it stealthed, honestly. The Priest can't really do anything about it unless he's rocking Mass Dispel, which he probably is not, let's be honest. So this could grow to a 30 damage creature if the game lasts long enough, which would be quite amusing. Coin Dark Cultist isn't great because then this kills it for free, which is not really what he wants. He wants to Dark Cultist, Coin, and Power Word Shield and get things going, though next turn a blank Thoughtsteal, if this doesn't attack, would make the most sense, and drawing the second Shade on curve perfectly. That is a little bit brutal. He does unstealth the first one to apply the pressure, which does make sense. Now, Thoughtsteal or Cleric and Power Word Shield, or hidden option C, which is Dark Cultist, Coin, Power Word Shield, which does make sense because it will require both attacks from the Shade or a hero power and attack from the Shade, but it's not the best. It really isn't. And he annoyingly draws into his next Power Word Shield the Wild Growth as well. Perfectly on curve and the card he needs, as well as use his hero power. That is a little bit, that is, okay, I mean... Okay, Tacit Rabbit, draw your destiny here because I have a feeling you're going to need it. What we going to see from him? Velen's Chosen, a fantastic card. Honestly, Northshire Cleric Velen's Chosen would not be terrible here because it would kill the 6/3. Though it does mean... Oh, no, the Northshire Cleric would survive, so I imagine he is going to go for that and force Hollow here into attacking with that and hero powering, though it does mean he can still throw the Senjin down, which is ideal, and the extra Ancient of War. So turn 7, turn 8 is going to be a very ridiculously powerful turn here, and he has got a lot of use out of that Shade of Naxxramas, but Hearthstone ultimately is by far and away majoritarily decided by luck, especially when two equally skilled players are playing. So there's no point having a go at Hollow for getting lucky, nor is there any point being like, Tacit, oh man, you got screwed out of that. No, that's not happening. The game is just engineered like this. It is very luck-based, ultimately. Also, that's why in actual tournaments they play best out of 5s, best out of 7s, because the more games you play, the less luck has a factor. But I just don't want any ridiculous, oh, boo, it was just luck, because that is how the cards fall, and that's really what you have to work with. And right now, Hollow is working with a lot of good options. Sensibly, he's ignoring the Arcani, which isn't really going to do anything. Thoughtsteal, not what he wants. Sylvanas is technically okay, but it is so far gone again. It is ridiculous. The Sylvanas, if he gets lucky, will steal the 6/6 or the 5/5. The Black Knight, not really necessary. Now, Hollow is in a conundrum, because if he plays the next Ancient of War and taunts it, he may get it stolen at full health, which would obviously be a little bit of a problem, but nothing crazy to deal with. So Ancient of War Zombie Chow isn't horrific, especially as the Zombie Chow gives an extra target for Sylvanas to whiff and steal, because right now, no matter who Sylvanas steals after attacking into the 5-5, it's really not a terrible result. So if it was me, I would just Ancient of War taunt as well as a Zombie Chow and just go for it. You're so far ahead, you even have the Black Knight to kill a stolen taunt, so you're not even really that bothered about it. So you can just really go for it. And it looks like, oh no, he's going to play the Sludge Belcher. The same play, but a little bit less risk, I suppose. Though, he's not even going to play the Sludge Belcher, he's actually going to play it completely safe. The Shadow Word Death there is good, because you can attack into the Ancient of War, and if it doesn't steal the Shade, then you can Shadow Word Death the Shade. However, this still leaves you very dead next turn, which is a little bit brutal here. He's in fact just going to do it straight away. I wouldn't recommend that because it increases your chance of getting the Zombie Chow, which is obviously not. In fact, he's not even going to do that. He's just... Oh, he's going for the 50-50. He gets it, but the Black Knight is there, and the game is... Oh no, the Zombie Chow does actually affect it, because obviously the Arcani doesn't affect his thing. So that was nearly over, very fast, but the perfect response in Black Knight. Tacit must be feeling a little bit frustrated here, and it is back to him. I mean, he can heal it and then trade with the Arcani, keeping his Arcani alive, which does help him out a little bit. Shadow Madness not what he wants, but he finally has the breathing room to Thought Steal here. And what does he get? He gets Scenarius, which is lovely. And he now can heal and Wrath, keep his Arcani at a free 5. And he's actually going to drop his other Thought Steal, which isn't bad, because he finally does have the breathing room to do it. Now, it just depends if he's going to do the 3 damage or the 1 damage. He doesn't actually need to draw, and honestly, I commend him having the balls to 50-50 that game on. It really, really did come down to that there. And he's going to go for the free and the heal, which is fair enough, and finally getting an attack on Hollow's face. The Ancient of War followed by the Hero Power is a fair enough play here. The swipe, and he's actually going to... Have I missed... Oh, I've missed Lethal. Yeah, the swipe, Keeper of the Grove, Hero Power. The game is over. That is very... The top decks are real, aren't they? I completely missed that as well. Oh, Tacit, he was on the road to an epic recovery, but sometimes the hand of the cards aren't with you. Let's get into game 3. And here we are in the potentially final game, and it is... Mage versus Warrior. Yes, it is. It seems to be a variation on Mech Mage where there's a more secret focus, which is certainly interesting. And honestly, and Azure Drake as well, so perhaps not even the Mech Mage bones are there. The Snow Trigger opening against a Warrior is fantastic because it obviously prevents any Fiery War Axe shenanigans. And Warrior is a very good choice to take a game off Hollow here, especially against a Mage. There were less burn focused one, so it may not be as effective. Now, annoyingly, he can't Death's Bite, which he is going to want to do here. I honestly would have been tempted to just shield block and get 2 more things, but he's actually going to get rid of the Snow Chugger, and this I very much agree with. Normally it would be a massive waste, but A, it slows Hollow down and he can afford to do that. He doesn't think there's going to be bigger threats, and B, he knows he can play Death's Bite and attack as long as he doesn't get frozen, so there is a lot of merit to that line of play there, and he of course is just going to Death's Bite and kill the Shredder and go into the slow grind of Warrior control, and we're gonna get a pint-sized summoner, the 4-mana Azure Drake. In fact, the 0-mana Cogmaster, the 0-mana Clockwork Gnome. What a drop to come out of the Shredder there. That is ridiculous. So, I mean, he can 0-mana Clockwork Gnome and then play the 4-mana Goblin Blast Mage. But I think, honestly, the best play here is to just use the extra advantage you've got from an early Azure Drake. It's going to take the next Death's Bite, keeping your pint-sized summoner alive, meaning that next turn you can just do this again. So it has offered him a lot of tempo advantage in from this. I think Azure Drake is definitely the play here. It lets you get it out early, and then next turn he can simply Clockwork or Cogmaster with a Goblin Blast Mage and clear through whatever the warrior happens to do. The warrior's hand isn't honestly that bad. He's got the shield block to stall and draw. He's got a second Death Spite to keep clearing the board. He has Whirlwind with the Death Rattle to clear away any 2 or health less minions, so he does have a lot of things available to him right here. So Holler's just trying to decide what he actually wants to do while his rope burns, and I think he is going to go with the sensible Azure Drake draw, and there's the Mad Scientist. So it's a secret infused mech mage, which is certainly interesting, and I imagine of his own creation, and there of course goes that, and he did draw the Cruel, so he does get to shut down this pint-sized summoner, and honestly if I was him I would shield block to finish this turn, because you kind of need stuff. He is saving it for his other shield slam, but I wonder if that's the correct decision. We're probably going to see a Clockwork Gnome followed by a Goblin Blast Mage, because it will likely clear the 2/2, and it doesn't really matter if it does, because we're just going to get a Death's Bite attack on the Goblin Blast Mage. Dr. Boom, a very nice threat to draw there. There's the next Death's Bite, and he's going to go down to 20, back up to 22. He's holding out quite well. Turn 6 and only a Clockwork Gnome is very nice in this regard. The Lotheb isn't going to do much. The actual Azure Drake is nice. Cogmaster Azure Drake is fine for this turn, as honestly is Spider Tank Mirror's Entity. He's actually going to use his time to get the Mad Scientist and Mirror Entity down, probably sensing we're going to see a big drop on turn 7, and he would be right. If Dr. Boom goes down into that and gives him a 7/7, it pretty much is over. Shield Maiden would still be bad, however he could at least attack Shield Maiden and kill it along with the Clockwork Gnome, and then, in fact, still Whirlwind to clear the other 2, so that wouldn't be terrible. He's actually going to Whirlwind just to have a little test of what that secret is, and then promptly play the Shield Maiden, which is going to Mirror Entity, but that's not really the end of the world. He's going to attack the Shield Maiden, clear everything, have his 5/4 on the board, and the emergency coolant is going to be good because it prevents that Shield Maiden doing anything, and he's got the second Mirror Entity, which is obviously pretty good because we are most likely going to see a Dr. Boom next turn. The sensible play here is to play Lotheb to force him into playing a creature, which will then mean you will get a good Mirror Entity because Warrior's creatures are all pretty good, especially as you've already seen a Cruel Taskmaster, which doesn't make sense now anyway. So that's the line of play I would have gone down, but flooding the board is certainly viable as well, and I'm hoping he shield blocks here, because if he Dr. Booms, like is the sensible play, yeah, he has read that another Mirror Entity would very much ruin him right here, and he's actually going to Cruel Taskmaster and do it on his own thing, just to test for the secret, which is very, very sensible there, and he buffs this up. I'm not sure I would have done that. I feel like there's a lot more merit in just killing the Tinkmaster with your Execute, because you don't really need the Execute for anything big, because you don't think you're going to be seeing anything big, but overall, it is fine, honestly. The 3/4 is going to go into the Shield Maiden, the 2/2 for the 2/2. You can just play the Azure Drake, see what you get, spend your last free mana on Frostbolting. Honestly, Frostbolting Face has advantages because it means you're not going to be seeing any more weapon shenanigans, and then we're going to drop the Lotheb. The Lotheb, honestly, not terrifically important. This is definitely going to be a turn for minions, and it really needs to be a very big turn for our warrior. Dr. Boom into Armor Up is honestly fine, because it gives him a lot to think about. The Boombots can do a lot of damage. He doesn't actually have anything in his hand to nicely deal with Dr. Boom and these Boombots. The Annoyatron is very, very useful to deal with Boombots, actually. It forces them all into it, especially given his hand, though he does have 10 mana next turn, which means no matter what the Boombots end up hitting, he can 7 damage, 5, 9, 12. He is just... oh, that nearly drew him lethal right there. Is he going to use the Fireball on Dr. Boom? Honestly, it is very perfect and can't really be ignored. It saves Dr. Boom, killing the Lotheb. He is going to go everything with fakes, and I'd be very surprised if we don't see the Fireball on Dr. Boom here. Though, for the face fireball, it's very tempting to keep it because it may just be the last bit that he needs, and he is going to keep it. He's going to go for the greedy fireball next turn to actually finish the game. One boombot goes, and it hits the worst possible target it could. The cleave might actually be good. What he needs to do is play Shield Maiden. That is a given. Boombot, and it does injure that. Cleave, hopefully it will finish the Drake if there's any justice in the world, and it actually does get 2 kills. Tacit, probably a little bit prickly, and honestly I don't blame him. Then the Shield Maiden and the Armor Up is going to go down, meaning that Hollow is still a little bit out of lethal, if my maths does add up. 4, 5, 6, 7... and then a 6 is 13, and yes it is. The Mech Warper doesn't do much for him right now. The Fireball doesn't do anything but remove the Shield Maiden, which he probably should use it for now before the board gets completely taken back, though he also has the option of just completely saving it in the hopes that he can finally have lethal next turn with a good draw. The Finicky Cloak Field is actually really excellent because it basically guarantees him 4 damage. However, the Alexstrasza face to 15 is obviously going to happen. The Shield Maiden's going to kill the Mech Warper, Docked Boom on the Spider Tank, Alexstrasza faced, you're up to 15, he has 4 damage, 6 damage from that, 10, he has to draw into his other Fireball to win the game, otherwise he basically snowballs away from you. And there it is, Alexstrasza bringing life once more. And the Spider Tank is not what he needs. This is looking more and more like Tacit is going to be able to turn this round at the last moment when Hollow was so close to lethal and take a game and force it to number 4, which is going to be quite good. Hollow's got no choice but to just pressure face as much as possible here and hope he gets the next Fireball. And our warrior friend has to clear the board, which he can do, and he has to armor up, which puts him on 12, which means Hollow has a 1 in 12 chance of winning the game and an 11 in 12 chance of losing the game. That is what we have come down to here, which is a little bit ridiculous. Grom does make more sense because it obviously buffs him up, and yeah, Hollow legitimately even knows that. He's not even going to waste his time armoring up. So here it is. 1 in 12. The final draw is a Snow Chugger. We are going to game 4, everybody. 2-1 to Hollow. The Fireball being used. He is going to technically hold on. At least. He's not going to completely throw it away. But he knows he needs something ridiculous now. Sylvanas, not terribly useful, and the annoying thing is, he kind of has to kill the Snow Chugger. But the thing is, with 1 Fireball gone, the armor up takes him to 9, and on 1 draw return, Hollow is not going to kill him now. He would need, I guess, Pyroblast? He could run Pyroblast, I actually don't know. And it is a Frostbolt, which does keep him alive for another turn if he Frostbolts. He is really holding on here. There is no question about it. Though now he is going to go up to 10 health. The Brawl obviously is not helpful. And again, if he runs Pyroblast, he has a 1 in 10 chance of winning the game. And he also could draw Ice Block if he's running it and stall some more. And it's a mad scientist. And now, finally, the game is over. We are going to be going to a game 4, 2-1 to Hollow. Let's do this thing. So then, game 4 is upon us. And this could decide everything. If Hollow wins, the championship is his. If Tacit wins, he sends it to a final game. We have Paladin versus Zoo Warlock, which is going to be very interesting. I think Tacit's had enough and he's busting out his own form of scum deck. The Zombie Chow, the Muster, is very good at holding off early aggro though, so Hollow definitely has a shot at this. The Argus, not really what he needs here. As Zoo, he can't play a creature on turn 1, which does suck, especially as he's going to be going up against the Zombie Chow, so this is not ideal for Tacit. And the Soulfire still being run despite the nerf. That is interesting to see. I would imagine Coin Muster here, because the Haunted Creeper basically says, I'm playing Zoo, so you just want stuff on the field to trade with things, because you're not going to be worried about AoE now. And he is indeed going to go into the Coin Muster. And honestly, should use the Zombie Chow to kill it, and then use the weapon to kill one of the spiders, and you are well on your way to just already winning now. Though we do have a Knife Juggler, which is obviously great against so many 1 health targets, the egg's going to drop in preparation for a turn 4 Argus, which is going to be a little bit of a nightmare to get through. The equality not very useful, and just an Acolyte of Pain drop does by far and away make the most sense here. And then we almost certainly will just see a plain Argus dropped on the egg, because 2 of his things have 1 health. He's going to be forced to sacrifice one of them unless he uses the Chow and the Acolyte, which also, to be fair, ain't a bad idea. In fact, he's going to trigger the egg with Power Overwhelming, kill the Acolyte to stifle the draw power a little bit, and then when the egg dies, he's obviously going to just kill one of the 1/1s. Ideally, he's even going to use the Soulfire, get rid of the Argus, which is probably the better one to get rid of, get his health back. Juggler's going to take out a 1/1. He's certainly put himself in a fighting position here. Putting on a True Silver and killing the 4/4 makes the most logical sense here, because you can reduce the amount of damage output you're dealing with per turn. That's really the objective. Annoyingly, leaving the Knife Juggler means you are likely to get your 1/1s peeled away a lot easier, but it's definitely a welcome loss. We're going to see a life tap, and then if he doesn't draw a free mana card, probably just a double down. In fact, the Elven Archer on the 1/1 makes sense. The Abusive just to apply pressure. There's no Consecrate coming out from Hollow yet, which does make this a much stronger line of play, and the Argus is not going to be helping him. He could just plain drop the Harrison Jones and effectively trade. He could Aldor Peacekeeper the Knife Juggler to a harmless 1/2 and then play his own 1/1, but it's still a little bit of a weak play. He does have the True Silver charge, which will probably be hitting the Knife Juggler. And he basically, right now, we're in equilibrium. This game is about to tip one way or the other, and it largely depends upon draws. The tap is going to happen, and then we're probably just going to see ourselves a Harvest Golem, and he's actually going to Power Overwhelming and take out the Harrison, which I agree with. It does make a fair amount of sense there. It's a good use of the card. 1 mana, kill Harrison, you know, that's not bad. And Tyrion Fordring, that is a very good pickup for Hollow. If he can just get to turn 8 without dying, he's basically won the game. Tyrion is a nightmare to get through for Zoo, especially if he doesn't draw any owls in time. That Harvest Golem reduced to a 1/1 clearer. Honestly, I would have played the Knife Juggler. Oh, he does draw the owl! Oh, he better not discard that. That owl is going to be massive. Absolutely massive. And no, he's going to play it to apply pressure. Oh no, this is going to be huge. The owl dropping, meaning Tyrion is going to go unchallenged, is an absolute shame. Yes, it does let him play the free Soulfire, but he could have juggled, played Soulfire, and then tapped into the owl, and that is very bad. Oh, and there's the Consecrate, reducing his board to a simple 2/1, followed by the Tyrion afterwards. I think we can safely say, guys, that Hollow is going to take this series, and what a ferocious series it has been. Very, very back and forth. It's actually ridiculous in terms of just the aggressiveness of the plays. Now, the Zoo's not out yet. He probably is running 2 owls, and he's just going to play the Abusive to apply even more pressure. But the thing is, we've seen both Soulfires, so the only reach that is really left is a Doomguard, and a Doomguard ain't getting through Tyrion. The light protects me. Or put your faith in the light. I knew that. What are you talking about? I was aware of that. The egg is not what he needs right now unless he draws Void Terror. That's actually, you know, that is not bad. And then he's going to pop the shield, of course, with the 2/1. And then, nom nom, bitch, we're going to have one tasty Void Terror. And actually, he's going to have more health than Tyrion can kill. Meaning he does have a way through Tyrion. The Consecrate with the equality is exactly what he needed to basically go, nope, this game is mine, sorry bro, and then the Sword of Justice into a sleuth of 2/2s. This is gonna be incredibly difficult for Zoo to come back from right now. He's even hitting with the Sword of Justice. He wants this game over. The Piloted Shredder does nothing. Lotheb does nothing. It is over. And with a 3-1 victory, Hollow is our champion. I have been avenged! Ha 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 ha! So there we have it, everybody. The EU Championship is decided with Hollow reigning victorious, and that brings the tournaments to a close. It really, really does. I know you will all want EU Champion versus NA Champion, but I can't do it because they don't have cards on the other realm, so it would just be a slaughter, and that is a shame because I want it as well, but it simply isn't possible. But yeah, what a tournament it has been. Absolutely lovely and a lot of fun. I hope you have all enjoyed it. I really, really do, and it's been some great Hearthstone. I'm looking forward to Blackrock Mountain expansion. There's going to be some cool stuff with that, so stay tuned. My name has been RageGamingVideos. Like if you enjoyed this, it really does help, and subscribe for more. Goodbye. Where are we going with this, Hollow? Aye, yo, so, where do I pick up my new card for winning? In hell.
You've been watching